is Mr. Tom Cruise, ladies and gentlemen. Proper movie star, ladies and gentlemen. That's what you're looking at right there. Wow. Look at that.
Very nice.
I like to think some of the whistles were for me as well. Tom, how great to see you.
It's great to see you again.
Thank you for coming on the show. Welcome back to London.
Thank you.
How was the premiere for you this week? It was Wednesday night, and you had the big one in Germany, you had the big one in Berlin as well.
Yeah, we had that in Berlin.
The one in Berlin, I believe the movie got a standing ovation.
Yeah, we got... standing ovation.
Were you concerned about how it would play in Germany? Because obviously it's a, I know it's a positive spin on that particular period in their history, but at the same time, it's, it's
there's a lot of pressure when we're making it to make it accurate to those events. I mean, we weren't necessarily trying to put a positive spin on anything. We were just trying to tell the story, and there's a lot of pressure when we were making the film. Just, I've only played a historical character. This is my second time. Ron Kovic, and Born on the 4th of July, and then this film.
And the vampire guy as well, of course.
Oh, yeah, he's our story.
Yeah.
I forgot about that. Three.
That was in the past.
Right. Yeah, of course.
I'm going to talk about the movie at some length later on because I love the film. We'll talk about it. But when you come, I've noticed, when you do premieres and when you come over here to premieres, it's a kind of almost a tradition where you walk around and you seem to want to greet every single person in the crowd individually, which is a lovely gesture. It's a marvellous thing. But you spend a lot of time out there. How long do you spend outside on average before a movie?
I don't know. I really don't know.
It was about an hour, I believe, the other night you were outside there for.
It's like somewhere between an hour, 2 hours, or something like that. Whatever, when we go around, people are, really kind enough to come out and say hello, and I want to do that. It gives me a chance to say hello to everyone.
And do you find, I mean, presumably you can't get to everyone, so do you find that even if you've been out for 2 hours, as you go in, you hear someone saying that miserable bastard thing? Just for 2.5 hours inside, like a sweet hitch on the back of the head. Here's a photograph, Tom. Check this out. You remember this, I'm sure. I can't remember which movie. You rescued a boy from the crowd.
Yeah.
This kid was being crushed. Everyone came forward, they saw you there, and you pulled him out of the crowd. That must have been a strange thing, and also, I mean, God bless you for stepping up there.
That's happened a few times, actually, with pulling people out to get a little crushed sometimes, yeah. I remember that.
And when you get the boy over the other side, what do people do with him? Do they just throw him back out? Does he just has to find his own way home? I mean, on the one hand, I'm glad you did. On the other hand, I think you're being a bit irresponsible there.
I think he went on and had a film career.
Now, can I ask you, there's a focus you seem to have in your work, and I'm curious as to where this comes from, because you seem to be... When you want something, I get the feeling you go for it.
Has anyone ever told you this couch is not as comfortable as it looks? I mean, it's...
Look, you want to go out jumping on couches.
No.
That's your business.
Right, yeah.
This one's for sitting on, all right?
This one's for sitting.
You still get a lot of people ask you about that and say, what the hell were you thinking? You're jumping around on the couch.
The friends called me right afterwards.
What did they say?
Friends are like, oh, come on, just teasing, taking the piss out.
But you're lucky you didn't fall over backwards off the back of it.
Yeah, definitely.
But it was just a happy moment.
Yeah, it was. Met my wife, it was a great moment.
Yeah, I've never been that happy in my entire life.
I know. Well, now I'll make sure, we'll
You know what? Because I've
put
never
that
met...
in its proper place.
Well, I've never met your wife, obviously, that's it.
I've never met my wife.
No, I know what you mean. I loved that. I thought it was just a joyous thing. And you know what? It was nice. It was nice that you... A lot of the time you see people who are big stars and you feel that they are controlling themselves or being controlled. They're not going to relax and never do anything, let's face it, stupid in public. And then
ridiculous.
But it was great.
Utterly
it was
ridiculous.
Yeah. But you wouldn't be doing that again, I don't think.
No.
Here's what I was going to ask you. I was asking, because I'm your focus seems to me a very powerful thing. I get the feeling, not just the way you've kept yourself in good shape and the way, obviously, you've pursued a career you wanted, but I get the feeling when you set your mind on something, you achieve it. Would I be right? That's more...
I try.
Do you ever give up on anything? Have you ever sort of like...
No, I mean, I just remember my whole life. I've always, if I, wanted to do something, I mean, I think the way I was raised was really good because I worked as a young child and contributed to the family very early on. And you just know if you want something, you want to do something, you got to work hard for it. So
well, I know you had a pretty tough childhood, didn't you?
It was interesting. It was there was a lot of joy in my childhood. I had a great mother and 3 sisters and some challenges, but I think that's helped me in life.
There's one thing I read about. I was reading about your childhood because your mum took you and your sisters away from your father, and she raised you.
Yeah.
and I read somewhere you talking about the first Christmas you had.
Yeah.
Could you tell me about that? Would you mind telling us about that?
I remember we didn't have any money, and so what we did was we picked names out of a hat of each, the siblings and my mother, and we spent a month doing things for that other person, and then, on Christmas Day we wrote a story or a poem for them, and I think it was one of the great Christmases that we've ever had.
What a lovely story.
It was a great time.
That is.
Yeah.
And what a remarkable time to spend with your sisters, to be brought up by your mother, sisters there. Presumably you're still very close-knit. You're a close-knit group.
Yeah, very.
Yeah. And one of your sisters works for you, I think, didn't she?
Yeah, they're all around. I used to, we all close by and work together and play together.
Is it true they used to bring their friends home to practice kissing on you?
Yeah, my sister's, older sister's friends, they wanted to practice their French kissing. Not my sister.
I wasn't
So,
saying
of course, when they were around, I would, the bell rang and you'd sprint home.
The greatest gift a sister could give.
I know, that's exactly why you want sisters.
All of my friends are going to come and give you French kissing.
Yes, I know, I'm there.
And I was at home practising on an orange. OK. You're now... but your family's obviously a big thing to you right now as well.
Yeah, most
the family you've created now. You have 3 children.
Yes.
OK. Any more?
Great
Do you think
kids.
you're going to have more? Do you want to have more little babies in your life?
I love kids, so we'll see.
What does that mean?
That means we'll see.
Well, I'd like to know. I'm going to ask a very straightforward question. It's a yes or no.
I think you got to ask Kate.
You don't know yet?
You got to ask Kate.
OK. She's over here. Did she come over to
Yeah,
Europe?
she left back to the States today to get back with the kids.
She was just had a big success in New York on stage, I believe,
Yes,
didn't
thank
she?
you.
On
Yeah,
Broadway.
Broadway.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Now, is that an area that you'd like to do as well? Because you haven't really acted on stage live, I think, since you were a kid, since you first started out.
Since I was a kid. I'd like to do a film musical. I'd like to do that.
And can you do...
I've never done that. We'll see if I can sing or dance.
What's your singing like?
It might fall right on my face. So, what is my singing like? I don't know, really, actually.
Well,
I sing a little bit in the shower.
Would you like... Let's hear a little bit now, and then we can help you decide whether or not you're performance ready.
But I don't want to ruin my chances and scare people away from my film musical.
You are not leaving until you've sung, so don't even start wheezing out of it. Hold it.
Come on, now I'm
Press
sweating.
that record button now. One little bit. OK, hound dog.
You ain't nothing but a... How's that?
You ain't nothing. You don't give a lot. Sit down, you're not going yet. I was getting up.
Am I done?
No. It was one of the most excruciating experiences you've had in public recently.
I've had a few of them.
You're not a bad voice, but you did seem a little shy there.
I started sweating, I think.
Enjoy the club. OK. It seems to me there aren't many things that you haven't mastered. You know, in movies you get asked to do a challenge, something. I've seen you doing, the horse riding, motorcycle riding, car racing,
I've fallen off
plane
a few
flying.
horses, crashed a few cars.
But you've learned to do most of those things.
Yeah, it's fun to do that.
Let me show you. This is a clip from, I think this was Mission Impossible 2, the beginning of Mission Impossible 2.
Yeah.
OK? Remarkable piece of footage. And this is actually you up on the side of this
not
clip.
CGI.
OK, have a look. This is incredible. Well, I'll ask you how you did this and what was going on with him. But if you remember the film, you're not going to show you. But look at this from the beginning of Mission Impossible 2. Look at Tom and
Those guys.
That's remarkable.
That hurt.
So that's actually you.
That's me.
And there's a harness involved. I guess there's a harness.
Yeah, I had a harness and a very thin wire, but when you're doing the jump, I had to hit a mark, and there was no net and all of that.
How high up were you there?
We were thousands of feet.
That's unbelievable. I mean, I get scared just watching that.
Yeah. I used to call people to the side and ask them questions to the side of the cliff, just to...
Just
they're
freak them
looking
out.
down just to freak them out.
Oh, and that shot there at the end when you're holding on, because
that hurt.
presumably...
I tore my shoulder on that shot, actually, because I had to hold it as the helicopter was coming in, and it was... And the harness, the wire, it wasn't at the right height, so I actually had to hold myself there. It was fun.
How do you get insurance for something like that? Because when you're making that...
I didn't send the footage back to the studio. They didn't want to know. Sherry Lansing, who was head of the studio, they kept trying to cut this sequence out of the movie. Yeah. Saying, figure something out. I said, I can't figure out a better opening. And so we went and shot it for 4 days. And I said, please don't send the film back. They don't need to know what we're doing here.
Well, as we saw earlier, Stephen Fry also does many of his own stunts. Yeah. Would you give him any tips for how to handle a horse?
You know, I remember doing Far and Away, and I flipped over the back of the horse going about 34, 35 miles an hour.
But there's a real danger you could get seriously hurt when you do
I was lucky I didn't get hurt, yeah.
When do you think, is there a point where you think, I've got to start slowing down, if not for my sake, then for the family, because I'm going to get injured, or...?
You know, I guess I'll do it as long as I can, and I'm going to keep doing this the rest of my life, so we'll see.
But have you got to the stage yet where you look at a script and you think there's a lot of running there? I don't know, you know what I mean? Do you look at, you mark it and there's
not yet. I haven't gotten there yet.
No, because that will happen, I guess. Yeah. It gets to the stage where people start going through scripts and they look for sunny locations.
Is that sunny locations?
Yeah. There's lots of sitting down. I'll do it.
They start crossing their lines out if there's too many lines.
Well, Clint Eastwood famously does that anyway. He doesn't ever like to speak on screen.
Yeah, and Steve McQueen, he used to cut his lines out.
Well, Steve McQueen, he's a guy I'm fascinated by, and I'm sure you as well. Tremendous screen presence, great actor, and the man himself seemed to live a life which was just kind of, exactly what he wanted it to be.
Yeah, that's what he did.
What do you do? He used to, like, for a day off, he used to get up early, he'd go off to the desert and he'd ride his motorcycle. What do you do if it's a day just for time?
My wife gave me one of his Indian motorcycles that he put together.
And you still ride it?
Oh, I ride the Indian, yeah, it's great.
And so what do you do for a day off? If you've got a day off and you don't have to do a show like this, you don't have to promote a movie, you're not actually filming, you're not developing an idea, you're not even with the family. If there's a day off where it's just a Tom Cruise day, this is the day for you, OK? You can do whatever you want. Yeah. You could stay at home, you could watch whatever you want on TV. You get a box set of Sex and the City out, whatever. No one's going to judge you, Tom. OK? You can go out, you can go to the cinema in disguise if you want, you eat as much pick and mix as you want.
Yeah, you know what, I'd watch a little football.
American football?
Yeah. Go fly an airplane, do some aerobatics.
You'd go and fly your own airplane?
Yeah.
Already we're having very different days here, aren't we?
I'd go to the racetrack and, ride some motorcycles and play around.
So it's a very active, you like
I like
being
hiking, I like acting, I like climbing, I like hiking, I like doing stuff like that.
How many press-ups could you do in one go, do you think?
I have no idea.
Nor me.
Don't ask me to do press-ups.
I'm just curious.
I have no idea.
I'm just curious.
None.
I'm just curious.
None. How many can you do?
I do many. At least 7 or 8 proper ones.
7 or 8 right in a row?
The ones where if you've got to touch your nose to the floor, about 3.
Yeah,
I've got this thing to try and keep in shape, and you're right. I'm in great shape for my age. Thank you. But we were saying that earlier. We didn't want to put that in the show. It seems self-serving. I have a vibrating platform I stand on. You heard about these things?
No, I haven't. Yeah. What happens? I don't understand.
It just sort of shakes you up a bit. I don't know if it does any good, obviously not.
And that's supposed to keep you fit?
Well, it's meant to keep you fit.
Is that good for your internal organs?
Probably not. And I tell you what, you break wind copiously.
Do you?
But I get the feeling, unlike the rest of us, you probably don't have a major flatulent problem. You don't... If you're at home with Katie and you break wind, do you fan the duvet like the rest of us do? Or is it Mission Impossible 3, lockdown? You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? It happens to all of us, to the best of... So, I always fan it. Get it out. Do you fan or do you lock down? Lee, you're definitely a fanner, aren't you?
I'm a terrorist farter. I do it out in the open and no one knows.
Stephen?
Not here.
Okay. Now, serious. Let's change the mood here because I want to talk about something which I saw last week, enjoyed tremendously, ladies and gentlemen. The new movie Valkyrie. And this was... When did you start making this? This was about 2 years ago that
I first read about 2 years ago.
Okay, because I knew about the story of this man a little bit. I'd studied history years ago, and I knew there were a number
I didn't know
of
the story at all.
Okay, so who came to you with this idea? When did you first get excited by it?
Chris McQuarrie, the writer who wrote Usual Suspects.
Great writer, terrific
Brian
writer.
Singer and Brian Singer, who did Superman, X-Men, and Usual Suspects, and they came to me with the story, and I read it. And I thought, this is a great suspense thriller. I remember putting it down and thinking, is this true? And I sat down with him and found out these actual events really occurred, and this man lived, and it was astonishing. I was astonished, actually.
Because he was involved in more than one attempt, or at least in more than one plot.
He was involved in the plot. I mean, it really reads like a suspense thriller, and the film is told in the classic sense of this kind of filmmaking, this kind of filmmaking, where it's set in World War II, but I think the themes are also they're they're ageless, they're timeless, about rising up against, you know, such oppression and dictatorships. And it's a very human story, but I found it very moving.
It's remarkable how much you actually look like this man. And you must have, there's a photograph. Look, there's a photograph, the profile of Tom, and there's Klaus von Stauffenberg on the left there. There's a real similarity there. I mean, that's quite uncanny, isn't it?
Yeah, when they show me today, my nose is a little different, chin. And, yeah,
well, you're not quite as good looking as he was, but you're very...
Trying.
Then let me ask you about when you're playing a character from that period of German history. You're playing someone who was a member of the Nazi Party, a Nazi soldier. When you're preparing for that part, even today, I imagine, when you're putting on the clothes that kind of play, but even today, the Nazi uniform, it has a certain power that comes with it. It's it's a shocking thing.
It was creepy the first time.
And it must be strange.
It was creepy the first time I put it on. It came in, and there's been a fascination. My whole life, I've had a real fascination with World War II, and of course, I saw, you know, The World at War, narrated by Laurence Olivier.
What a great series.
Yeah, it's just an incredible series. And just all of a sudden, there's the first uniform that I did. I was at my office, and we were all around and to try it on, and it was, you know, it's just, yeah, it has a power to it.
It must be peculiar.
Yeah, it was very peculiar. But also, what helped is that what this man stood for, I greatly admire him, and he was someone who opposed Hitler. Actually, you know, even as early as 1938, someone's got to shoot that bastard, and I found it just very compelling.
At what point do you decide, or the director or someone, decide on how you're going to play the characters? Because you're playing Germans. Sometimes you see movies in which people affect a German accent when they're doing them. Other times they play it with their own accents, which is the route you went down. Were discussions held? Did you try out accents before?
Spent a lot of time going through it. How are we going to approach it? But it's also, this is a broad audience film. And I think that when you look at those kinds of pictures, where if we're going around affecting German accents, where we're in Germany, we also thought, well, why don't we all just speak German?
Yeah.
You know, so we just, did it that way, and Brian, I think it was the right choice.
Do you like?
So I start out, I speak German at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah, when was that you speaking?
Yeah, that was me speaking German at the beginning of the film, because it really will want to take the audience and bring them into this world in this time period, so that you hear me speaking German as I'm writing in my journal.
It's a very clever device.
Yeah.
So you learned a little bit of German, or a lot of German?
Yep, I learned German. Yeah.
So you can actually just back and do
What? What language are you speaking?
Eine kleine Nachtmusik. Do you actually speak? You could conversationalize with the German?
I can understand more, and I can speak a few words.
Stephen,
a lot of time
you speak a bit of German, don't you? Is this correct?
Ja, ein paar,
Yes.
ein bisschen.
Is that French?
Lee's using... I don't know what it was, but Lee's now doing Morse code at us. He thinks he's...
He can Morse code in German.
But I love the German... Yeah.
It's excellent.
Ja.
Yeah, he sounds
Beautiful
I
language.
understand what he said.
It's a beautiful language, but I like to hear English spoken with the German accent. I like to speak this way sometimes just for fun at home. Do you ever speak this way at home for fun? Maybe someone phoned you on the telephone. Hello, would you like to upgrade your service or two? You say, no, what is this? Tom Cruise not here now. Now you come from somewhere else. I don't know where.
Another country.
But you ever do that? Of course you don't.
No.
You've got to loosen up and have a bit more
Yeah, I
fun.
gotta have it, yeah.
Never mind all this riding Steve McQueen's bike and flying your plane. Just kick back with an accent. I love Valkyrie. I want you to see this, and some fantastic performances in it. I'll tell you who everyone is good in it.
Great English
Bill
cast.
Nye
Bill
is
Nye
great.
is fantastic.
Yeah, and also Tom
Wilkinson.
Hollander.
Hollander. Kenneth
Wilkinson.
Branagh.
Yeah, fantastic
Yeah,
performances.
Hollander, Wilkinson. We got all the...
And the guy who plays Hitler as well. I mean, he looks enough like him.
Yeah.
He's not on screen that much, but it's a difficult role to cast.
We shot at locations where these people were also.
So did you shoot? You shot in Berlin. You shot in Munich.
We shot in Berlin, in the houses where they were, and in locations at the end of the film where it actually took place, and also all the airplanes. Of course, I love flying in airplanes. So all the airplanes are real, and tanks are real.
It's a tremendous.
I got to do a strafing run on a Panzer division.
Let's have a look at this. This is Tom and the rest of the guys in Valkyrie. Look at this. So Tom Cruise, they're trying to kill Hitler. What more do you want?
Yeah.
That's a great movie.
Kill Hitler.
Kill Hitler.
Kill Hitler. Kill Hitler.
OK, Tom, before you go, here's the thing I want to say. Did you see Tropic Thunder, ladies and gentlemen? Did you see the film Tropic Thunder? It's just called.
Yeah, Tropic Thunder.
Great film, hilarious film, and, very rare that someone in a small part just about steals the movie. And there's a movie chock full of fabulous performances. But Stephen mentioned it earlier on. That clip where you come on as the actor Len Grossman, is it?
Yeah, Les Grossman.
Is quite remarkable.
Thank you.
I knew you'd done a bit of comedy. I hadn't thought of you being kind of that gung-ho to join in. How did the whole look of this guy come about?
Actually, I was working on a script with Ben, and you know, we started talking about it. I said, you know, you got to have a studio head. And he came back and said, you know, read this. And I said, oh, I got to play this character. But I said, but I've got to have fat hands. And I said, and I want to dance. Why? So he kind of looked at, I don't know. You know, when you're working on characters, sometimes you just get ideas. And so we worked on the test, and I showed him how I wanted to dance, and we just played.
The hands are kind of disgusting. The hairiness as well.
Yeah,
if there's anyone at home who looks just like him, I apologise for saying this, but it's a revolting-looking appearance.
Well, he doesn't think so. Les doesn't think so.
He thinks he's a player.
He is a player. Player?
Once again, did you work out this dance at home? Do you have professional help with this? Or
No, I just did. We just started dancing. I just started playing. You know, I just started dancing when you know, in the makeup test, I was like, look, you know, this is how I think, you know, he's going to want to move. And you just started, you know, just playing. And he cut it to a piece of music, so we just ad-libbed and played around.
So you weren't playing that music at the time?
No, in the makeup test they didn't, but when we were shooting, he played this piece.
It's Flo Rida, isn't it?
Yeah,
the guy's
Flo
name.
Rida, yeah.
Do you like to dance when you go out?
Yeah, I like it. I like dancing.
Do you like to sing?
Yeah, I love to sing.
Okay.
I love to sing. I love to sing and dance.
OK, let's have a look. This is, if you didn't see it, then you're really going to want to see it now. It's just out on DVD. It's a great fun film. This is Tom in Tropic Thunder. Tom Cruise is Les Grossman.
That film is outrageous.
But that could
so
well,
much fun.
That could well be like a defining performance for you.
I love it. It's so a great character to play.
I'd like to see him in his own movie.
You know, we're kind of talking about it.
Wow!
The Les Grossman character.
That would be fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
horrible.
Maybe if I do a talk show host as Les Grossman, will you come on my show? We're not going to be competing. Mine will be in America. No. What about a film?
I would love to. I will be there. Hey, you've got to come back on the show. Will you come back on the show sometime?
Yeah, absolutely.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr.
It's always
Tom
great.
Cruise.